Hi, welcome to Someone Else's Movie, the original podcast where an actor, writer, director, or nebulous industry figure gives a little love to a movie they didn't make. I'm Norm Wilner, I'm a critic, consultant, and programmer based in Toronto, and this is The Other Thing I Do. My guest this week is Auden Thornton, an actor you might know from the films Beauty Mark, Palm Trees and Power Lines, and Broke, or for her recurring role on This Is Us, or the Black Mirror episode Beyond the Sea, or dozens of other appearances. And she co-stars with Stephen Amell and Stephen McHattie in the thriller Little Lorraine, opening in theaters across Canada this Friday, April 17th. You should check it out. Auden picked Away From Her, Sarah Polley's 2006 drama starring Gordon Pinsent and Julie Christie as Grant and Fiona, an older couple facing the end of their marriage when Fiona is diagnosed with Alzheimer's and checks herself into a residential care facility alone. When Grant visits her a month later, he finds his wife no longer remembers him and has in fact started a new relationship with another resident of the facility, played by Michael Murphy. Adapted by Sarah from a short story by Alice Munro, it's a quiet and devastating drama that's only grown in its power and empathy in the 20 years since its release. And in fact, if you're only just finding it, it still packs a punch. I'll let Auden explain that. This is Someone Else's Movie.
It was so exciting. It's so exciting to get to think, to chat about a movie that you love. It's like, which one? What's it going to be? And there's so many movies I've seen so many times, and I'd only seen Away From Her once, and it was last fall. And it just hit me so intensely, and it took watching it again to really understand why. But that's just one of the reasons, is I find it excruciatingly beautiful, and the performances, and for my taste and sensibility, it's one of those perfect films for my heart. It's just what I love. Also celebrating a Canadian film coming out. I wanted to maybe choose a Canadian film. I've actually gotten to work, Norm, with Julie Christie's coach, who worked on Away From Her. And I was working with her in Toronto last fall when I was like, you know what, let me just watch this film. And a final reason is that my dad put this movie in my DVD case, in my DVD folder, when I went away to arts boarding school. I was 15 and it had all my favorite movies in it. And he was like, you've got to watch this movie, Away From Her. I think you'll love it. 20 years go by, and I finally watch it last fall. And there feels like there's some kind of thread in the film about 20 years ago, and how memory, and when seeds are planted and when they come to fruition, and when healing happens. Anyways, it's extraordinarily beautiful is the main reason. And that's why.
Well, I hadn't realized you had only just seen it. So that's, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
So how did it hit you? What was the experience like of catching up to it now? 20 years ago, it was, a first feature from an actor that everyone loved and everyone was rooting for. And now it's sort of part of the pantheon. Roger Ebert said it was one of the best films about Alzheimer's in the early 21st century, which is, I don't disagree, but it was a big thing to place on a first feature. And so, yeah, what was your experience of it?
I must have been in a particularly sensitive moment when I first watched it last September, because I think I started crying 3 sentences in when he said, I didn't ever want to be away from her. I was like, oh no, how are we starting here? This is where we're starting the movie, with this much tenderness and vulnerability and level of authentic, beautiful performance, and this gentleness throughout the film that just immediately invites you in and brings your nervous system down. And then every moment is so full, it just keeps catching you off guard and surprising you. I'd seen Take This Waltz. I'd seen Women Talking, love Sarah Polley's films. I still want to watch her documentary, The Stories We Tell. I haven't been able to watch that one yet. But so this was, I guess I've been working backwards with her work to some degree. And it hit me. I think a lot of my favorite films, I've started to think about this, are like this, just the quiet ones that are so powerful and somehow are meditative without being ponderous. Is that the word? And are so sensitive without being self-pitying. It's just this tight wire of there's such a dramatic tension in it, and it's unfolds so delicately and beautifully. I don't know. I don't know how they all did it. I don't know how Sarah Polley did it. Julie Christie is like every actor in it is just radiant and extraordinary.
I know Sarah a bit, and where were we? I think it might have been during the interviews for Stories We Tell, right around that time when we were talking around the other films she made. I have this whole thesis about how she made those two movies in order to get to Stories We Tell, because Stories We Tell is ultimately, it's about her parents, and it's about any relationship between two people that is, ultimately unknown to anyone else, the people outside the relationship, but also to the two people inside of it. And Stories We Tell towards the end becomes Sarah's origin story as much as it is the story of her parents' marriage, because of course you can't not tell your own story in documentary if you're telling your own family. And she comes up with all these great ways stylistically to refract and sort of obfuscate certain elements until it all snaps into focus. And what I'd asked about away from her is, like, it's very conventionally shot. It's an unconventional story and emotionally really, really risky, but it's shot almost like a television movie, almost like a low stakes drama. And I asked her if that was deliberate, and her answer was that it was the only way she felt safe making it. Like, she wanted all the focus to be on the performances and not on the direction, and not on, she could have done stylistic stuff. She could have had swooping camera movements and impressionistic sequences. And she said she just wanted the actors to tell the story.
I love hearing that. And it makes me think about the extraordinary cinematography of The Father, which gave me a panic attack. Like, I actually haven't finished that movie because I started to feel such like terror watching it. But I think because of the simplistic, just the simple camera work, it almost made me start watching it a second time. I was like, I've never related to someone thus far in my life who has dementia or Alzheimer's, but watching people go through that feels like a microcosm for what every single person will have to go through from a spiritual lens. We will, at least from my perspective, I will have to let go of all of my ideas about being Auden and all the attachments I have. And we will have to let go, and to watch that, it just brings you into this level where maybe it's on a subconscious level or conscious, like it feels like we will all go through it, whether we experience dementia or someone else with dementia or not. And there's that line, you can't beat life, right? It touches everyone. And I think I love movies that like don't tie things up with the bow at the end, but still leave you with this redemptive, triumphant feeling. And like the way each character finds a way. Julie Christie from the jump, Fiona, like we're watching someone with tremendous courage and grace, exemplary. But then Gordon Pinsent, am I saying it correctly?
Pinsent, yeah, Gordon Pinsent.
His character arc is so beautiful to watch him move from this very understandable selfishness into forgiveness and into absolution through his selflessness at the end. And like that is the triumph. You're not going to beat dementia. You're not going to beat having to be at this state of life, even if it's the most lovely, beautiful, like truly beautiful care facility. But the way in which it's met is the triumph. And yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Pinsent got almost no recognition for what's like, he's the mirror to Julie Christie. She's great. And Fiona is, I mean, she's playing at least two different characters and everything that's in between as the dimension progresses and people become unrecognizable to each other. But his ability to show us Grant's horror and grief and anger and selfishness. I mean, they are both very selfish characters in a weird way. The mirroring of that, like, it's always on Grant's side as Fiona is removed from him by the illness, but she gets to act on her impulses in a way that he can't.
But that he used.
Yes, no, very much so. Yeah. But the gulf that's slowly growing between the two of them, which is, it's discussed a couple of times. People talk around it, but it's handled with a delicacy and a tragic understanding that I think is really rare for films about dementia. The sense that you will have moments, and I have had plenty of close experience with dementia over the last 20 years, and it's absolutely gutting and horrible. But the sense of loss happening right in front of you, like this, the knowledge, it's so much harder on the people who aren't suffering from the disease. They're suffering from the impact. And this is a movie that captures that in such a uniquely Canadian way too, because Grant is, Gordon Pinsent was a specific type of masculine presence in Canadian film and television. He was sort of patrician. He was a like a living legend by the end, reading poetry, and him and Christopher Plummer were the two that we just sort of had as, Canadians of a certain era, who lived long enough to be celebrated that way. And watching him play someone here who is losing a battle against his own emotions is riveting. He'd done great work, but I don't think anybody had asked him to do something like this. And Sarah just, like, she clearly knew he was old enough and he was starting to get a little smaller as he aged. This is the right moment to cast him in this role, and then to put him up against Christy, who is this, legendary screen actor in a way that Pinsent never got the credit for being, because he didn't really break outside of the country. And here's a woman who has played everyone, has done everything. Sarah worships her. But they had worked together on a film a couple of years earlier, and she said that she couldn't believe she got her to do this, because it was playing weakness and it was playing lost, and potentially, like, she was afraid it would be misunderstood what she wanted from her, and she gave her this incredible performance of someone who is actually becoming stronger through dementia. And how do you even get there?
Tremendous. And he was just tremendous in it. So beautiful. Makes me want to go and watch more of his work. Just beautiful. I felt that her growing strength, and also the interesting aspect about, as she's losing her memory, it's their ability to heal from a memory that won't leave her is also the only time when they can talk about that, because she's losing the masks in a way, even though she's also putting on a brave face completely in other moments. She's unable to in others. And that was interesting. It makes me think about, memory and time in some ways, like the idea that time is a construct. And that memory she has some line of like, I can't let this go because then it will hurt more when I bump into it again, as if it has just happened. But that was just an interesting aspect of the movie. And I don't know what more to say about that, but the only time she can face these memories is when she's losing most of them.
The flashes of understanding in a person with dementia they're horrible. I can only imagine what it's like from the inside, but to capture that sense that you're going, that something is changing, as again, this is something that you can over dramatize. There have been plenty of films that really, really push it. And the decision to just not move the camera, not push in, observe and be in the moment with them it's so simple. And it's a facet of Sarah's direction that she'll let the actors do the work. It happens in Women Talking, these long, beautiful scope shots of just people looking and reacting. It happens in Take This Waltz, which was her first digital production, and she played with 20-minute takes because you could, right? Like, it was just an option. There's a scene, where there's a scene that opens with Michelle Williams and Seth Rogen's characters cleaning up in the kitchen, and she shot the whole meal prep. Like, it's all there. And
so much. I love it.
Yeah, it's for the freedom.
and take this waltz, where it's just that long phone call and she's the pan. I don't know if you remember that, but there's, this sense of play and just allowing life and the actors to unfold and giving that space. I mean, I dream of more processes like this. I grew up in theater and I really dream of, I feel this in Chloe Zhao's work. I know she does somatic exercises with her cast and crew, and I feel it in Kelly Reichardt's work. A lot of people, but there's just like this space for things to reveal themselves instead of, it's so easy on set, like you don't have enough time, right? And it's easy for myself as an actor to feel like you need to force something quickly in order to tell the story. It just as an act of generosity, as an act of, this is what I was hired to do, and to just take that time for yourself if you're not already given it. But just the directors who are really prioritizing the process over the product is so. The proof is in the pudding. It's wonderful, and inspiring.
I think too that when you are someone with the career that Sarah Polley has had, you have the standing to say, I'm going to need rehearsal time and carve that out. But for a first feature, and she's, what is she had? She must have turned 30 by then, but she's so young. She started so young as an actor. All
the different angles and experiences she's had
and all the people she's been, right, as an actor, all the different roles she's played, all the different worlds she's been lucky enough to research or inhabit for any length of time. And she was born in 1979. She wasn't even 30. It's it's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and to take on an Alice Munro short story, which involves getting past your own terror of wrecking something from an author who's revered, and tell a story about senior citizens facing the end of their marriage, like all the things that she hadn't lived, but that she's been, in proximity to through her work and through her life. Yeah, I'm fascinated by her career choices as a writer and director as much as I am by her work as an actor, because she had decided she was still acting at the time. She had a couple of features ahead of her when she made this. She was really conflicted. She was, I think, on the fence about what to do, what she wanted to do. She'd been making short work, and this feature comes along. And I think like the fact that she made another one within 4 years and then just stopped acting for a really long time.
Does she still act? Does she?
She's drifted back. She plays herself in an episode of The Studio that came out last year.
Loved it.
Yeah. And she's, again, just great. And I think that got the bug again. I suspect she does want to do something. This is all speculation. I don't want to talk to her about it. I don't want to know. I want to find out what it is she's doing. I know she's in the writer's room for The Studio second season, so who knows what that'll lead to. But the idea that all of this is simultaneously ahead of her and behind her, as a filmmaker, as an actor, and that she just waded right in and knocked it out of the park. Yeah. And looking back, it's her least daring, least challenging film, not in a bad way. It's just, this is what you do with conventional, and now we're going to see what else is ahead of her.
Right. It is, again, just like how the film starts, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it's other people's taste, but like, just starting in the deep end. And it's so exciting to think, like, for me, it feels like she is still just starting her directing career. Rewatching Women Talking, I was like, I cannot wait to see all the films this person makes. I cannot wait. It's really, really exciting. And I didn't know that about the Studio season 2. That's fun. Was she on the Studio season 1? Was she part of the
Not as a writer, no. I think she just had so much fun doing it that one thing led to another. And it's the perfect little triumph for the show to be like this self-reflexive parody of Hollywood and have an Oscar-winning screenwriter on your staff just because she had a good time making an episode.
That episode, my goodness.
Yeah.
And right, Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm. Who she directed 15 years earlier. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. That's right. I love that. It's totally tangential, but he was so wonderful in Take This Waltz.
Yeah.
I'd never seen
Incredibly
it.
underrated as a dramatic actor.
Yeah, that he was wonderful. I just didn't know that was part of his wheelhouse. I think of them as like, smart and funny, and man, it's really cool. I like to see these relationships developing and people working together and weaving in and out. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
such a big world and industry. It's heartening to see it.
Hey, it's Norm interrupting my own show to bring you up to speed on Shiny Things, my newsletter about physical media, culture, and the odd streaming project. Last week, I wrote about the disc debuts of Timur Bekmambetov's screen life thriller Mercy and Ray McKinnon's 2007 comedy Randy and the Mob, and of course there was Friday's What's Worth Watching dispatch for paid subscribers. Sign up for a 14-day free trial at shiny-things.ghost.io or find a link at the Semcast Blue Sky account. You like reading about movies? I like writing about them. Come check it out. Well, I get the sense too that there are a lot of those relationships behind the scenes in her first two films, where she is counting on people she trusts and working with people she's sure of. Because however good she is, I know like the imposter syndrome has to be crushing when you switch sides on the camera and take charge of a set, especially one where you're dealing with venerated talents. But that's the other thing about her. Like everybody gets behind her. She can command a room with an idea, and even on Women Talking, she shot like nobody talks about this. But the whole movie, like, the thing is basically a CG construction outside the farmhouse because they shot it in the studio. They built sound stages at I think it's the Enercare Center now, the Better Living Center on the CNE grounds in Toronto, was the production hub. Anytime you look out a window, you're seeing green screen.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's all so they didn't have to drive out to a location 2 hours out of the city every day, and they could go home and have dinner. She could have dinner with her family at 6 o'clock on a work day.
Wow.
And like she's been an actor long enough to know all the abuses, all the casual stuff that gets heaped on the talent, and it detracts from the work in the end, and it affects, as I'm sure you've been in situations where it's just, let's go another hour, let's make time
And the energy, and in places where it's not helpful, right?
Exactly.
Because actors, a Canadian actress, wonderful actress, friend of mine was talking about something I'd never thought of before, but she was saying, actors are the only people on set that don't have like a head of department. And so if you're number one, you're sort of, whether you know it or not, somehow responsible for channeling and embodying this whole performance and taking care of these things. And we're the last to work. I'm not trying to have a pity party. I have nothing but respect for every single person and different department. It takes everyone, but it can be so tricky when sets aren't run in a way that understands that, right? That actors are often last to work and often have the least amount of time. It's just like, you got to get this in 2 takes now. And then you're up there and you feel so much responsibility. And so I think that's so cool, because some people, you might hear it and think, oh, well, shooting on location is so special, and it is. But in that sense, she's trusting the imagination of everyone she's hired, and they're just getting into a rehearsal room and they're letting the imagination and the collaboration fly. And that's the essence of it. It can be done anywhere. And that's just so brilliant. I did not know that. I think that's so cool and thoughtful in a way that I certainly wouldn't even think of. That speaks obviously to her decades of experience on so many sets.
Yeah. And with Away From Her, they shot I had it right here, let me double check. They shot 2 weeks of nursing home scenes in the Grand River Hospital in Kitchener on the second floor, which wasn't being used at the time, to make it as real as possible. But that is still the same thing, right? You have to create the space and make it convincing, and then just let the actors fill the rest in. But I think like rather than shoot in a studio in that case, she found a place that had it in its bones, that had the atmosphere that, to walk into the building is to kind of code switch from being in the world to being in that they
Portal.
call it memory care these days, but that sequestered space for people with Alzheimer's, with dementia, with cognitive issues. And I had not seen the film since 2006, and then rewatched it for this with the 20 years of experience that I've picked up, unfortunately, with all this stuff. And you can smell the room. The authenticity is remarkable. Like, she made it conventionally, but she didn't skimp on the details. Right down to the slippers that people would have been wearing 20 years ago, which aren't quite as form-fitting or obusy or whatever it is you call them. But now there's been advancements in technology for gait, and you can get slippers that are a little warmer for older people, all kinds of advances. And I just recognized everything about the moment that she captures as much as the condition.
That moment from 20 years ago too, you're saying?
Yeah. It's a lot. And this is, I should point out, this is the same cinematographer, Luc Montpellier, who shot Women Talking, and has an incredible eye for detail, but he's operating here just as she is, in this completely flat mode, just observational, no push, no insistence. It's up to us and the actors to find that connection through the screen. And that's an incredibly daring move in itself.
Yeah. Brave. I admire it so much. Yeah. Do you feel a similarity? Am I just pulling this out of nowhere? Or do you feel, I guess in Hamnet, that was another one I would have loved to talk about, but you've done it.
Someone just did it. Yeah, sorry.
I guess there's much more of a camera presence in that one. I still feel a similar, just like letting us watch life with Chloe Zhao's films. Do you feel the same?
I think the conflict I have with Zhao's films is that her cinematography is so much bigger. She's working in that Terrence Malick mode where the sky is as important as the faces. And I don't know that any of Sarah's movies
have that scope.
Yeah, or wants that scope, I think. I think she's much more interested in
the scope is just the human,
the people in the space rather than the space itself.
Absolutely.
I think so. And she's a huge fan of Malick's. I mean, she could do it if she wanted to. I do believe that. I think if it was in the aesthetic need of the film, I think she'd go big in that same way. But I do think that a Sarah Polley sense of environmentalism is the space, the rooms, the houses, the way that people sit in the barn in Women Talking, in those wide shots that tell us, who's listening to whom and who's more important in the moment. And this film, Away From Her, is all about rooms. It's all about people being locked away with themselves. Whether it's Fiona in the retirement community or subsequently the memory care ward, or Grant alone in his house, spiraling, because her absence guts him, whereas his absence doesn't affect her at all by the end. And they're two completely separate modes of tragedy. But I think the point of the cinematography here is to just let us sit with them rather than be awed by the world around them.
She can't go out into the world anymore. It's not safe. Yeah.
And I also think just the fact that Zhao's films tend to follow people in rural settings, right? I mean, Hamnet there is no city, not really, until the very end. And the rider is mostly set outdoors, and Nomadland is mobile homes and big canyons and spaces. Like even the Amazon warehouse is a massive, massive space when we see it at the beginning. But the characters in all of Sarah's films are living in cities. They're living in, I guess not Women Talking so much. That's a settlement more than a city, but it's a compound, right?
Yeah, they're in smaller spaces, big, just as big lives and emotional lives, but in smaller spaces.
Yeah, they're domiciled. if that makes sense. Not domesticated, but they're in constructed spaces more often than they're outdoors. Like even when people venture outdoors and women talking, it's to yell at each other. It's where the voices can be raised and violence can be threatened, or a scary car can show up. But it's in the space in the barn specifically, or in some of their homes, where they can be safer and free to open up to each other and actually have the conversations that they're not willing to have overheard. And here and away from her, it's just about conversation disappearing and people being made strangers to one another, and not dealing with it very well.
As best they can. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's a film about coping, absolutely, but it's also a film about the inability to transcend the situation. Right? Fiona does it because after 30 days, she just doesn't remember that she was married, or that she has a husband, or still has anyone who isn't directly in front of her. And that is 100% dementia, and, absolutely realistic depiction of the situation. But it's merciless, and it's presented again flatly, without comment, without any stress in the film. It's just something that's happening, and we have to watch Grant take this body blow and still hold his composure. And that, I think, that is what Gordon Pinsent does better than anyone else of his generation, certainly in Canada, is play someone who has a spine of steel, but he also has a heart, and the two are always in conflict. Like there's the thing you have to do and the thing you're supposed to do, and it's that that perfect baby boomer idea of what a man and a husband and a father should be, coming right up against, I can't control the situation, and all I can do is take it.
And find a new way to love. I think that was the redemptive thing, is like, and the strongest thing he could do is finding the new way to love is just to let go and to help her, and to surrender to the situation, which is, I guess, archetypally not the masculine thing, if we're going to use the gendered, right? But it's the more feminine, is just to soften into this and to let her be where she is. That last scene, I did feel this, even though Kristen Thompson's character, foreshadows that there will be moments of remembering, and it will seem like everything is back, but it will disappear. And it didn't feel pat to me that it ended with a moment of wholeness between them, like their truth came back, and that's the truth. It won't leave, just because truth can't be taken away, right? So that is the truth between them, and that we got to see that, and they got to have that moment, even though it won't always look like that in the future, or rarely will it look like that. And I think another thing that really stuck out to me is how I think it really felt like she was constantly just trying to orient to the blessings. Like, you could have left me. And we're not sure, at least I wasn't sure when I heard that. Did she mean you could have just left me at the memory care facility, or you could have left me 20 years ago? We didn't have kids. Like, you could have started a whole new life, but instead, coming back to that, I'm going to focus on, as a coping mechanism, as a, like, I'm trying to survive this despair I'm feeling, but I'm going to focus on the fact that you always actually stayed, even when you left, even when he had at least one affair, maybe multiple, but like she's just trying to just say, you know what, you still didn't leave me, and I didn't leave you. And it's like the tragedy of that, but also I just keep coming back. The film feels triumphant to me, even in the total abject grief and despair of it. And I think, yeah, I've not been married before. I've not had a long-term relationship like that. I've not lived through all these different chapters that I guess neither had Sarah when she took this on channel, but it, gosh, it's not for the faint of heart being a human. I suppose we all really go through it. And it's wild, those movies that don't know if you have any other ones that are on your mind that make you think of it. I was actually thinking about Wendy and Lucy, how at the end of Wendy and Lucy, the most loving, strong, triumphant thing to be done is just to surrender and let it go, the thing she loved most. And I feel a strange, like, pride at humans when you watch these movies. Like, God, this is so fucking horrible. And look how bravely they just went through that, and how, I don't know, how much grace and ability to evolve even in just the smallest ways. So not to be cheesy, but I felt I didn't really want to watch this movie ever again after I saw it, because I was like, that's too much. That is too much. And then because there's so much love in it, and I heard that, I haven't read the Alice Munro short story it's based on, but I heard that Sarah really teased out more of the love, and not in a one-dimensional way, in that like gritty, true, pure way, but it leaves you feeling heartened and leaves you feeling touched, and compassion certainly for what one may experience in the future and what others are experiencing currently with experiences, dementia and Alzheimer's. I wouldn't be surprised if life changed like pretty unrecognizably during our lifetimes, and in surprising ways. Just things are moving so quickly, and I hope that in some ways they're moving towards healing, beautiful things like this, steps in this direction that could save us from this type of experience in the future.
God, I hope so. I think having seen it, even at a remove, yeah, I would love for films like this to be looked on as, oh, that, that looks awful, but I have no point of reference for it.
Right. Right.
But I don't know. There's so, like, I guess it is like, this is us talking about the thing that you're talking about, the feeling that you get from watching films like this, where the triumph, it's a sacrifice that benefits the person or the thing being left behind, but that has the cruelty, right, of knowing you're the person making the sacrifice. Wendy and Lucy just, it gutted me. I saw that in Cannes late at night on my first or second day there. It was the fifth film I'd seen, and I had to just go and walk in the hills for an hour and be by myself because I couldn't make eye contact with another person for a while. Having lost my own dog, a yellow lab, a couple of years earlier. I got to talk to Kelly about that. That was okay. Like, I forgave her for making me feel. But also knowing that was her own dog. Like, Lucy was Kelly Reichardt's dog. Yeah, she said she had to direct all the scenes of Lucy walking by giving other people in the scene a stick so she wouldn't look at her person. The stick was more important. So you'll see a lot of times Michelle Williams is holding the stick during important scenes just so the dog will pay attention to her. But she said also, like, she came up with the final scene when she was thinking, like, what was the one thing she would be incapable of doing, but that this character might be able to do.
Forgive me if I'm repeating myself, if I said this earlier, but that's another movie that I was like, I don't think I can ever watch. This is one of my favorite movies, and I don't know how I'll ever watch this again. Shoplifters, also by Corrida, was like that. I have watched that a few times since, but just like, and I feel like has that similar theme of, I don't know if it's how similar it is, but I will watch Wendy and Lucy again now, knowing that backstory. It actually makes me feel a bit cozier watching it. I feel like this dog, remember, it's Callie's dog. Yeah, my goodness. That's a great way to put it, though, of you're sacrificing on the behalf of a greater good, and there's that painful compromise in it. It's a triumph, but it's not bypassing the reality of the situation, which is just not an easy. That's another one of Fiona's lines is like, we're not going to find a situation that we like here. That's not what's in the ballpark of what we can hope for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, that's it, right? I mean, Grant has to live with this memory,
Mm,
not just of this relationship that meant the world to him, even when he fucked it up, even when he was the one who cheated
mm,
and acted selfishly, but he also has to live with the memory of saying goodbye, the same way
mm,
Wendy does,
mm,
the same way everyone has that one regret that that was the right choice. Maybe it was a breakup, maybe it was leaving a job, maybe it was something else entirely, but we all have done stuff that we knew we would be the better for.
mm,
But it's the thing that you
mm.
still have to do it. You still have to live it
Take something.
or
Yeah.
leave something. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes something from you as you leave something. It leaves an indelible mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all made of scars. But
Hmm.
but away from her finds the possibility of maybe not happiness, but contentment.
Hmm.
We can believe rather when it ends that they'll both be okay,
Hmm.
which isn't something that's always
Hmm.
given to us.
Hmm. I didn't catch this the first time I watched it, I don't think, but it seems he and Olympia Dukakis, she's moved out of her house. She's made her sacrifice of I'm forgetting her part. Oh, Aubrey, sorry.
Oh, yes. Yeah, God, we
She,
haven't even talked about that, have we? The parallel relationship that develops, the new love that's going on
mhm.
between two people, between Fiona and Aubrey in the ward, and how this creates wreckage for Grant and for Marion, for Dukakis's character to build on, possibly.
Mhm. It's interesting. They both seem the way I felt. I'm curious how you felt watching it, but they feel is perfunctory the right word? They feel utilitarian. They feel um, kind,
Mm.
merciful, and mature.
Yeah, I
In,
mean it's a different version of a relationship. They're not exactly a mirror to
Mhm.
Grant and Fiona, but there's a sense it's been going on longer, or at least this part of their relationship has been eroding long enough that
For Aubrey
Marion,
and barriers, Marion, you're
yeah,
talking about?
for Aubrey and Marion,
Hmm.
it feels like it's been deteriorating longer, and so Marion has made her peace with it already,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
gives Dukakis this kind of wonderful calm through
Mm.
the agitation. Like
Mm.
when Grant is so clearly upset and struggling, she can just be very still.
Hmm.
The two of
Practical.
them, yeah, practical, pragmatic.
Hmm. Still
This
full of
is
life. She wants to downhill ski and go dancing. Yeah, it's very life affirming still. Yeah, and she kind of reaches out a hand and he accepts it.
Yeah, again, it's a little flicker of hope in the middle of this, the worst thing that this guy is ever going to go through.
Hmm. 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 Mm.
Yeah, first feature, not even 30. It's appalling.
Just operating on so many levels. Wow. I'm in awe. My goodness. I really am.
Oh yeah, no,
Mm.
she's a generational talent. It's kind of remarkable, and I'm so glad that people get it and that she's at a place now where she can kind of goof around with it too, and not worry that people won't take her seriously. That you can make an episode of the studio where you play a version of yourself as a
Hmm.
tightly wound dictator.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh my gosh. So she's made three films and documentary, is that correct?
Three features and a doc, yeah.
And a doc, and then
Oh,
countless.
and a television series. She wrote and produced a six-part adaptation of Margaret Atwood's Alias Grace in
Oh,
2018, I think.
wow. I did not know she was the writer behind that. I
Mm-hmm.
watched a good amount of that. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the absolutely wonderful luminous actress who plays the lead of that.
Oh, Sarah Gadon, the other
Sarah
Sarah,
Galley.
the other Canadian Sarah.
Yes, who I've actually met and yeah, just wow, what a wonderful actress. I did not know she was behind that TV series. It was great. That's cool. I would love to see her do another series. Look, I would love to work with her. That's the dream. My goodness. Planting a seed.
Oh, she's the best.
Kristen Thompson, I just want to bring her up one more time. Is she a very well-known Canadian actress?
She's more known as a playwright, actually,
Wow.
and a stage actor. She didn't do a lot of movies. I think she had a television series at one point, but yeah, it's not how she's primarily
And
identified.
she was fantastic in the movie.
Yeah.
I just thought she was so great. I would watch her in a lot more. That's so cool.
Yeah, she's terrific. She wrote a play called I, Claudia. It was a one-woman show, which was made into a movie. Oh, here, 2004.
Okay. I
But
feel like
I have no idea where you'll find that. But if you can, it was released on DVD at least. Maybe it's on CBC Gem these days. But if you can find it, take a look because it's a remarkable showcase of what she does, particularly on stage. What is her thing? And
Mhm.
she and Sarah have known each other for a long time. I think I know she was in the short film she made, I Shout Love, with Matthew Ferguson. I Shout Love might be on the DVD of Away from Her. If you're lucky, you have that edition with the extra stuff.
Do you know what is tragic is I don't know where that folder of DVDs is. It might be in my parents' like storage barn, but it had all the old. I don't have DVDs beyond that anymore. It had Kramer versus Kramer and um, Out of Africa and Butch Cassidy and The Natural and Sense and Sensibility. That was a big one
Mm.
growing up. Just watched countless times. Um, yeah, I don't know where those DVDs are. You can still buy DVDs though.
You can, yeah. I'm sure the used ones will be out there somewhere. Everything, like so many people dump their collections that the used DVD stores are full of treasures all the time.
Do you watch on
I
DVDs?
do. Yeah, yeah. Blu-rays, 4Ks. It's one of the other thing I do these days is a newsletter called Shiny Things, which is all about physical media. I've been covering home video since the 80s because I'm old and have amassed a fairly decent library.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. You know, Little Lorraine is going to have its own VHS and DVDs. I don't know if
VHS, really?
yes, he's making analog shiny objects for Little Rain. They might just be limited release, but that's what he said. And then he posted on the stories. Andy's gonna have because he's similar. He loves the just tactile. I am too. Like I love books. I love a film camera. I love puzzles and things like that. But I don't have. Maybe it's I've been such a nomad with moving around that certain things have gone away. But yeah, there's going to be a Little Lorraine VHS and I mean, maybe it's changed, but that's what I heard at VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, all the things. So I'm very excited about that.
That is very cool. I will follow up on that because, yeah,
Because it takes place in the 80s too.
yeah,
80s.
it's contextually
Mhm.
chronologically appropriate.
Mhm.
But before we go, I did want to ask about Little Lorraine specifically, but also about your larger career in general. Is the question usually that I close the podcast with is whether there's something from the film that we're talking about that has had an impact on your own work or your own relationship to acting, directing, filming, whatever it is that you do. In this case, since you've seen it so recently, it doesn't really scan. But is there something else about Sarah's other films? Is there anything that you've taken from her body of work that has helped you as an actor or influenced you in some way? I mean, you've been working forever too, so it's not like there's
You know, I think I will stick to Away from Her actually.
okay.
I think it's just a beacon of what I want to reach towards still. You know, it's that type of work, that type of spaciousness in a process on your own before you even show up and are with people. And then really the juiciness and the reward. It's so rewarding to get that with others. And so I think that the performances in Away from Her it's nice to have new things to aspire to. There's so many amazing performances I see all the time, but um, that level of presence and availability and direction and just relaxation, which is a strange word, but I think you have to have a tremendous amount of that for everything to come through, even if your character's not feeling relaxed, you know? So yeah, I guess when you've been doing something for a long time, I started acting when I was 7, which was 30 years ago, all mainly theater for about 15 years. It's just so rewarding to see new pieces of art that open you back up again. And you're just like, oh my God, there's so much further to go. And how beautiful is that? You know, how beautiful to have these shining things to aspire to instead of feeling like, I've been there, done that, which is impossible. It's, you know, but yeah, that's how it's affected my work. It feels like I feel like I'm at a new beginning with my work is what it feels like after 30 years, which is a beautiful feeling. A new playing field. So yeah.
Yeah, I love those moments where the world cracks open and you can see a new direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So just the inspiration of it. Think about how recently I was thinking just how brave it is to put your art out there in the world. Put anything out there, a podcast, a book, um, a movie. I wrote a pilot once. I've not done anything with it. But just it's such an act of generosity, actually. I can get scared. Uh, Performance anxiety, was very shy as a kid, not an extrovert. And I just think, where am I going with just a gratitude for all the incredible work that's out there that feeds us and fills us and inspires us. And even just how difficult it was to choose a movie. It's like, how lucky are we to have all of this beautiful work that people have created and um, they carry us forward. So yeah, that's where I am. Just grateful. I'm a great audience member. I've always been a great audience member, I have to say. I just love actors and artists and movies and people talking about just all of it. So yeah.
No, it's
That's
good. It's great. I mean, is there something you want to do now that you haven't done before? Something that you feel like you're ready for?
I really I've been a lead of a number of indie films. I've done so much theater. I love it. I looks like I might be doing a play in New York later this summer and fall, which would be just really wonderful. I haven't done a play in probably somewhere between 7 and 10 years. I'm not sure. I really focused on just getting some more on camera experience. But that would be incredible just to kind of integrate everything that's I've learned, see what's schlepped off since the last time I did that and what new experience it is. So I would love to do a play again. And I would love to do a play. I would love to be an ensemble member in a great mini series or TV series. I've done recurring, but I've never had like, we're just getting the hours and we're getting the days in. We're like, um, on the right show. I think I would feel very trapped on the wrong show for me, which in a lot of ways I feel like I've been protected from. Um, but that would be a beautiful experience. And then just to get to work with people who really prioritize rehearsal and process. Um, I've not been on a film set like that before. I've worked with wonderful directors. It doesn't have anything to do with that. I feel really lucky with the directors I've gotten to work with, just very human and respectful and kind. There's never been yelling on set that I've ever experienced. There's never been just toxic. I don't know why you hear about stories all the time, but I've not experienced that. But I would love to be at the next level of where the director has the capacity to prioritize that more of a process. I think it just comes from the theater animal in me that's my favorite part of it is just the messing around and getting to explore all of that. So we'll see what happens. But lots of great people to meet and people to work with. So very excited, very, very, very excited to get to come out to Canada next week again. Filming Little Lorraine, by the way, was the first time I'd ever been to Canada.
Really?
I'd never been anywhere in Canada. We got to film, in Nova Scotia, and then got to go to TIFF, which was so beautiful. What a bucket list experience. I'm in love with Toronto. I love Canadians, it turns out. So working in Canada again, I mean, it's the new Hollywood. I would be more than happy to film Vancouver, all the places, Montreal, wherever it's happening. So yeah, adventures to be had out there, I hope and feel.
My thanks to Auden Thornton, whose new film Little Lorraine opens across Canada this Friday, April 17th. Thanks also to Winnie Wong. She knows what she did. You can find Auden on Instagram at AudieThorn, all one word, AUDIETHORN, and you can find Away From Her on DVD from Lionsgate in the States and Mongrel Media in Canada. The Lionsgate disc has a Julie Christie commentary, but Mongrel's 2-disc set has Sarah's short film, I Shout Love, so you'll want both. It's also streaming on Hoopla, Crave, and Hollywood Suite in Canada and on Starz, Canopy, and Plex in the US, and available to rent or buy on various VOD services across North America. You can find me on Blue Sky at Norm Wilner, and you can find this podcast there at Semcast, SEMcast, and on the web at someoneelsesmovie.com. The first year of the show is still available for just $20 at payhip.com/Semcast. That's the first 52 episodes of Someone Else's Movie, 40 of which aren't currently available anywhere else. And check out my newsletter, Shiny Things, at shiny-things.ghost.io. I think you'll enjoy it. Our theme song is by The Last Year. If you like it or the show in general, please say so. Leave a review wherever you've been listening. Every little bit helps. It truly does. And check out the other shows on the Frequency Podcast Network while you're doing that. Stay safe, watch movies, get all the boosters. I'll see you next week.